let us say, pictures that we have in mind or at hand of God, and with which most of the people would not have no idea, no conception of God. So what are these then? And deep, down for Rumi, knowing and worshipping God under these concepts is a kind of idolatry. A kind of idolatry. It is not monotheism, it is not believing in the God, but since most of the people cannot help, so this was actually given to them, and they are forgiven because since they use these ideas. But for a true believer, he must go, he must transcend all these conceptualizations and polarities. For this reason, actually, I have chosen the story of Moses and the shepherd. Here clearly you see the theology of Rumi, his real conception of God. The story appears in the second book of Masnavi. You have got it with you. We do not really know the origin of the story. Definitely the origin is not Islamic, because in the whole Islamic literature, according to the scholars, they cannot find this. We do not know where Rumi actually took the story and elaborated on it. I'm not sure of the Jewish literature of the story. But anyway, it is really a story that through it and on the basis of it, actually Rumi has been able to the true idea of God. First of all, the relationship between a lover and the beloved, and then the relationship of a theologian and his conception of God, and the difference between the lover's conception and a theologian's conception, and then God comes in order to say that both the lover and the theologian are correct, but each one must know his own limits and his own level of understanding. So that is the idea behind the story, which we are going to read it. In this story, as you see, Moses actually appears. He's the figure of a theologian, and the shepherd is a lover figure. Okay, somebody who loves God, but he's Philistine, using very primitive concepts about God. So the shepherd is a lover. He has got a heart, but he lacks mind. On the contrary, the Moses here is a theologian who has got a big mind, but a very feeble heart, I would say. And so the confrontation between the two is very spectacular and very telling, in order to see how a lover conceives God, and how he errs in depicting him, in conceptualizing him, and how a theologian comes into the scene in order to correct him. But through correction, actually the theologian himself becomes corrected by God and by the lover, and then God comes in order to tell each one of them how to think of God and how to be aware of their own limitations. I would like, before going into the story, which is really very remarkable, very wonderful, and I invite you to read it and read it again and again, because there are many points in the story. I have written a lengthy commentary on the story, but you have to read it for yourself in order to discover all those points. The religiosity of Rumi, his conception of God, his conception of God as a beloved, all you can find it in this story. The translation of Coleman Barks is more American and more understandable than the translation of Nicholson. Therefore, there is some differences between the two. I have chosen for you the easier one, the simpler one. But of course, Nicholson is there, and you can look it up and the story in his book as well. You will see in the story that of course God absolves, so to speak, the shepherd because the shepherd visualized God as a person, just an ordinary person. He was addressing him, come to my house in order to provide you bed, in order to provide you milk, in order to comb your hairs, and so on and so forth. So in his love, actually he was looking at God like an ordinary beloved. He was addressing him. Now what